Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really fascinating. We're unpacking a pretty radical theological critique by David Yonggi Cho that challenges the absolute foundation of the modern labor market. Whether you consider yourself deeply spiritual or you're just curious about different philosophies of work, this text offers a completely different way to think about the daily grind and honestly how we spend the vast majority of our waking hours. So let me ask you this. Do you ever just feel restless or maybe kind of empty no matter how many different jobs you try or how many companies you work for? The source text hooks us right away by pointing to this almost universal feeling of workplace burnout. And it suggests that if you're feeling this way, well, it's not actually because you haven't found the right employer yet. Instead, the text answers that restlessness with an absolute bombshell of an idea. It claims the very concept of a job keeps people enslaved to a system that was never designed for their freedom. The problem isn't the job market at all. It's the whole framework of a job itself. It's a huge reframing that challenges us to look way beyond just trading our hours for a wage. Right. So to really grasp this, we need to look at the foundational difference here, relying on what the source calls the system of men versus the kingdom of God. In the system of men, you're navigating this worldly structure where you're essentially begging for acceptance. You're climbing corporate ladders, often just to realize they're leaning against the wrong wall, and you're always living in fear of being replaced. But in total contrast, the kingdom of God is presented as a divine structure. In that system, you are already chosen, you are completely irreplaceable, and your promotion, that comes directly from God. Section 1. The problem with jobs. Why the modern labor system feels draining. According to this critique, traditional jobs are inherently flawed. Why? Well, because human employers have strict boundaries. They can arbitrarily restrict your income or just cut you off entirely with no warning. Ultimately, this system cages your long-term dreams. Jobs, the text argues, are designed for mere survival. They're just about keeping you functioning within their system, rather than actually allowing you to step into your true destiny. Think about it this way. Trading your life for a wage might give you some temporary physical security, sure, but it completely starves your deeper spiritual purpose. A paycheck gives you a kind of prosperity, but the text frames it as basically man's crumbs when you compare it to the limitless supply of heaven. And honestly, that perfectly explains why that feeling of emptiness persists, even when all your bills are paid. Section 2. Rejection as divine redirection. Reframing closed doors and failed interviews. Look, the source material completely acknowledges how exhausting the job hunt is. Submitting endless applications, getting rejected, trying again, failing, and feeling like you're stuck in a season where absolutely nothing is working out. The text validates how incredibly painful and just demoralizing it is to wait endlessly for an opportunity that never seems to arrive. But here is where it completely flips the script on failure. It argues that these rejections, they aren't just bad luck. Instead, they are intentional, protective measures by God. And the reason is to prevent you from settling for less, to force you to cut off your dependence on human employers, and to position you for unexplainable divine provision. It totally reframes a closed door as a necessary step towards your spiritual freedom. Section 3. Jobs versus true callings, a stark spiritual dichotomy. The author draws a really sharp line in the sand here. A job is temporary, it constantly drains your energy, takes from you, and is built strictly for survival. A calling, on the other hand, is eternal. It actively fills you with purpose, it releases your hidden potential, and it's built for your ultimate destiny. So the key takeaway here is that a job depletes you, while a divine calling actually sustains you. Think about the difference between a standard salary and a stream of provision. A salary is totally fixed. It can be stopped overnight by a boss, and it's strictly limited by human economics. But spiritual streams of provision, according to the text, never run dry. They flow directly out of your purpose, giving you a limitless supply that is totally immune to inflation or recession or anything like that. And to back this up historically, the text points out a pretty wild detail. Adam and Eve didn't have a 9 to 5. They didn't clock in and clock out. They had a divine mandate to manage, govern, and multiply their innate gifts. The argument here is that humans were originally born to walk in authority, not to just trade their time for a wage. Section 4. Awakening your hidden talents, multiplying what you already have. The text uses these incredible biblical case studies to show a clear pattern of multiplication. Think about the shepherd's rod that literally divided the seas, or the widow's tiny jar of oil that paid off all of her massive debts, or the 5 loaves of bread that fed thousands of people.
When small, seemingly insignificant talents are surrendered to a higher purpose, they are miraculously multiplied way beyond human logic.
So, if you've ever felt underqualified or like you just don't have enough to offer, this philosophy says stop. You shouldn't despise your talents or compare them to anyone else's. You might think your gift is too small to make a living from, but the text argues that divine provision attaches directly to your unique, individual gifts when you use them for a higher purpose.
The things you actually love doing, those ideas you might be sitting on because you're afraid to fail, they are not just hobbies. Your gift is an actual key, an assignment designed to create true wealth and stability. The source challenges us to stop begging men for wages when we literally already possess the internal power to create our own channels of blessing.
Section 5. Choosing destiny over survival, breaking free from the fear of unemployment. The text draws an uncompromising line here between survival and destiny. Pursuing mere survival is compared to the daily existence of animals, just waking up every day searching for enough to eat and exist. But pursuing destiny, that elevates you. It means walking with spiritual authority, manifesting your true potential, and becoming virtually unstoppable because you're no longer boxed in by human systems. So, what does it actually take to make this shift? Well, first it says you have to actively refuse to bow to the idols of employment. You have to trust in divine provision over the safety net of a regular paycheck. And probably the most daunting part, you have to break the chains of fear and willingly step right into the unknown. Stepping away from all that constant distraction, the endless busy work, and the limits of the modern labor system is exactly what unlocks your real power. It's a call to become almost dangerous to the status quo by realizing your own immense value. As the text says, jobs keep you busy, but callings make you powerful. And we're going to leave you with this final, really profound thought to chew on today. As you think about your own hidden talents and the work you do every single day, will you merely survive or will you step up and live for your destiny?